we created an application called Mindsweeper. First of all of us probably have encountered Facebook at some point in our life. However, many of you might not know the kind of data that's being mined from you every single time you use it. We wanted to be able to create a unique application that could dive into some of the weirder parts that you might be unfamiliar with. So first of all, we're going to share what our idea was, as well as a little bit idea of our product development flow. We're going to give a brief demonstration of the application that we've created, as well as talk about some of the weird things behind Facebook and the data that we found. We're going to dive into the technology, the system architecture, as well as some of the challenges that we face, a website that we created to be able to help educate people on the security of their own private information, and some of the future features that we'd like to implement. First of all, one of the first things that people will end up trying to do is try and figure out how to reinvent the internet. We were so curious about what are different ways that we could interact with the World Wide Web. Well, it is really wide, but how do we show that? When you are going through several pages on a Google search, you might be unclear as to how all of these different things are connected. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could visualize what that looks like? Well, there's so much data in trying to figure out exactly how to present that we decided to go with something a little more personal, something that many of us do in fact have. And that's our Facebook data. Here's mine, right here. Every single thing that I could download is right here. I have ads. These are advertisers that have my personal information, JSON files that are filled with every single picture that I ever took, including the ones that I should never share publicly. As well as friends that I have, pokes, people that I haven't friended back, personal information that includes my whole search history, every comment I ever ledgered. A whole lot of information is hiding, including IP addresses of every single device that you use to log in, including the information of the name of that device. So one of the things we want to be able to do is educate people. We want to be able to talk about something, we want to show how to visualize that information in 3D. And so we wanted to be able to let people know, first and foremost, there's a whole lot of information you're giving away that a third party can have access to. Second, this is only a portion of that information that you would actually be able to see. There's a lot more that's hiding on Facebook servers that we were not able to get. And the third is that they actually create a custom profile about you. This is based on things that you click that maybe you don't feel like you're connected to, and soon I'll show you some of mine.
As a first step, we created personas and user stories. We defined persona for 4 personas. This persona is fictional characters generated by auto-generated site from here. So I explained about 2 of them. First is he is Coda. Coda is 12. His parents created his Facebook account for him when he was 4. They made a post on his behalf before he was able to type. Recently, he wants to delete his account, but before deleting, he wants to see all of his data. She is Sarah. Sarah about to graduate college. She has been a very heavy Facebook user from 2007. She's not sure how she's come across a potential employer, so beforehand, she wants to see her data. Yeah, we created features. Users can read different JSON files only by selecting a root of folders. We created new class to pass out difficult object nested in JSON data. And we created some view of, for example, show the list around us, or summary of a number of lists and list with pictures.
We're going to share with you the demonstration. One of the things that we ran into as a problem was Chromecasting to you. So if I don't get this up in the next 10 seconds, then we are going to continue forward until it is available to share. Oh, I wish that that's what I was Chromecasting to. Let's continue on.
So before showing you demo, let's check out what is this Facebook data. So there are a few things we realize that Facebook has been doing. For example, if you connect your contact list to Facebook, it will store the names and phone numbers. All of them are stored in Facebook. Also, maybe you may have experienced that Facebook has been asking you that maybe you're in this picture and you're actually in that picture. That's because Facebook knows how your face looks like. It has facial recognition points. Also, as Ian mentioned earlier, every single message, comments, search, everything is stored there. And Porks have ratings. We don't know yet what these ratings mean, but it has rating. Also, if you're using Android uses calling timestamps. They are also stored in Facebook. There are some very strange features that we realize in Facebook.
Okay, now let's talk about what technologies we use. The application is written on Unity, which is a game engine that allows you to create 2D and 3D games. Our main programming language is C#. We are using Travis CI for continuous deployment, and we found a good use of Docker containers that I mentioned before, and we are using also Amazon S3 buckets for our releases. So how does it work? You have to download your Facebook data yourself. We cannot do that because it's so private. The information is real private. You have to also load it to the Mindsweeper application. Everything happens within your local machine. Nothing goes to the internet. The only thing that goes to the internet is an API call to Google to get images for businesses that have your information, but we are not uploading your information to any other service. So I'm going to talk to you about the engineering challenge that we faced, and the first one was how to build a continuous delivery pipeline. And we have a couple of providers, Circle CI and Travis CI, and we went with Travis CI because we thought that it was going to be so easy. It was just going to be a single configuration file, a couple of lines long, just tell the language that the application is written to, and it will build. But it turned out we were wrong, very, very wrong. But Docker came to our rescue, and so we were able to get the ability to use Docker containers within Travis CI to build our application. So we were able to come out with this configuration file that is much more complex, but we were able also to get a build path. So how does the delivery pipeline look like? When a developer makes a change in GitHub, that triggers a build on Travis CI, and that will use Docker containers to build our application. And when that is built, it will deploy our application to an Amazon S3 bucket. We also created a website that you can use to download our application that talks directly to that S3 bucket. That website is deployed on Heroku.
So there are many challenges. Here's a sneak peek of our application, and we have created this application not only for VR but also for desktop. So we created this application for Mac OS, Windows, Linux. We've been trying so hard. But the problem is there are some different configurations for VR and for desktop. So every time we click some object, it doesn't work. That's because of this configuration. And we spent so much time to figure out what was wrong. Also, there are problems. Like when you are using web application, you never think of the distance between the pointer and the object. But this is since 3D. you have to think about the distance between the pointer and the object in space. You cannot really see in the screen. That's why we struggle so much. Also, there is a problem about game engine. So first of all, for the first time when display the old text, we realized they need to be converted. So we figure out they are not Unicode but Latin 1, which is very rare code, and we converted them into UTF-16. And then we realized that there are not all the text displaying, so we have to fix that. And then we realized now Japanese text is not shown. So we have to, we ended up creating the font asset for Japanese. Also, there is a problem about the .git ignore. So we use this file to avoid us from uploading all the files because some of the files are very heavy. But realize that actually file is about the position of the object in Unity. So when we didn't upload these files, that affects everyone's basically environment in Unity. So that was also a problem. So there's another challenge. It was about algorithm. So when we had to develop algorithm, we have to really understand what the data structure will be like and also how C# works with that. Because we've been studying JavaScript, C# is a new language and we have to really understand how it works. And also, English has a space between the words, but Japanese doesn't. So when you have to make a new line, you have to think about like different solution for each language, basically, mainly for English and Japanese. Also, there are many unexpected edge cases. So sometimes your JSON file doesn't have this data. Since these JSON files differ from person to person, we had to figure out how different they are, and we had to think about each edge case.
Another challenge that we faced was being able to allow a application permission to be able to have access to the local hard drive. So it's one thing if we're using this on the desktop. It's one thing to be able to open a file and then be able to log it into our application. It's another thing to have it saved directly on our headset. So we had to come up with a very special way of being able to determine what that file pathway was. And then in addition to that, which it actually wasn't even stored in the folder marked SD card, it was stored somewhere else, we also had to create a function that allowed us to request that permission. So when we end up seeing this, eventually, as I'll show you soon, when you're able to see that your application is asking you for permission to be able to actually have access to the local hard drive, it's like a hallelujah moment for us. But as soon as we actually ended up finally being able to implement it, it ended up breaking just about every single part of our application, and then we had to refigure it out from there.
As I mentioned before, we built a website, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. In this website, you can find additional resources and how to download your Facebook data. There's instructions. Also, there's instructions about how to download the app. What are these files? Because there are so many files in the Facebook data that you download. So it's not always clear what these files are for. And we have a brief descriptions of what these files are for, and the list is huge. Also, a couple of things of how can you improve your security and how this does the Facebook has your information and how is it sharing it.
We have connection now. If you all are willing to take a dive into our application, thank you all for your patience. This is what it looks like. So starting off, we have our, wait, I might need a microphone.
Wait, is it actually working?
Yeah, can you see it?
Not moving.
Oh, well that's because let me hit start the application. Do we have live?
No.
this is the fun thing about this. We're learning a lot about how Chromecast streams. It says that I have complete permission now. So this is what the crooked head looks like. Oh, what was that? Oh no. I feel like we're all on the same page now, where it's like you feel just as strange as I do. One more time. Alright, I'm casting, and no destinations are found. Let's walk through some of our future features. I have an idea. Here.
Yeah.
Can we switch back for a second?
Yeah.
Future features. Just now, we could support it, some of JSON files. So in the future, we will visualize all of them, and we will use text analyze and personalized metrics. If we create it using technologies, users can be sure, seeing some viewpoints, for example, classified, public or private, and some keyword searching for, users searching for, and we want to realize more friendly and interaction. And we want to support it running on the browser. For example, WebGL, because just now we supported specific platform. So without depending the platform, if you are interested in our application, please check this QR code and please check our profile. Thank you for listening our presentation.
With everyone's permission, I want to walk you through how to download our app in live time. So if you were to visit our website and open the file, it will end up asking you whether or not you have permission to use it. Something about the internet here. It's moving very slowly.
Are you smart?
Mm-mm. Yes. Right. Wasn't that part. So it says it's not commonly downloaded. Choose to keep this application. And then open. So it's not connected to VR, but in this environment you have the ability to look around, and this is the way you would expect to see it in VR. If you end up logging in, it ends up asking you where you've stored your data. So for example, I'm going to share with you all of my data right now. I don't advise ever doing this in public, ever. So first thing we might want to check off and look at is, let's see what my ad interests are. So it says I have 85 public interests. Let's see, that includes Will Ferrell and Women. Women is a band, I just want to clarify. We have Star Wars, we have Skin, I like Skin evidently. Some very odd things in here. Tool, I've never listened to Tool. Let's see, what about apps and websites that I've logged into? Yelp, Discuss, Tumblr, these are all the different times that I've logged into every single one of these applications. I also have the ability to look at, God forbid, my search history. What's at the top here? My ex-girlfriend. 29 times. So if you're ever looking to figure out exactly how many times you've looked at people, this is unfortunate because my fiance is in the audience right now. I love you, babe. Other things that you can be able to do, if you haven't had enough, you can also explore what your comments are, which can actually go way off into the distance. You have the ability also to get closer to them. You can move up and down in VR space as well as in this environment. So if you can't read it, you can get even closer. And then as well as we also made it possible so that all the advertisers that have your personal information, which for me is 886 different businesses. You'll see that some of these pictures that are loading right now have question marks. That's because when we do that Google API call, it can't actually read the image file type within this application. So as it was said before, no public information is going out. We're just trying to figure out exactly Activia. That's for people who have bowel syndrome. If you want yogurt. I learned a lot about myself through this, and this is only like a fraction of all of the information that exists. And so I know that we front-loaded all of the expectations that we have for this, but by the end of it, we want to be able to give people a fair understanding of how everything is being contained all in one place, and to be able to live in that and see it and be educated by the kinds of weird things that can be manipulated, so we can tell what kind of person you are maybe, how many private good things you've said versus bad things, versus all of the messages and the conversations that occur. Thank you all very much for coming out today.